yeah, mother was a Bohemian too, absolutely, yes.
So you're immersed from childhood in a Bohemian life.
So actually, who knows? I mean, it might just be extremely unadventurous. If you see what I mean. I never bothered to break from what my family, which was our mother, did, you know. That might be all that it comes down to.
Well, talk a little bit about growing up with your mother in the milieu of we all grow up in the milieu of our parents. So talk a little bit about growing up with your mother.
Well, it was, first of all, it was tons of fun. It was really tons of fun. Sometimes people get the impression that mother was a terrible mother. People have been known to say, if Edgar and I say to them, you remind me of our mother, they're horrified. But it's always meant as a compliment. I can't imagine a more fun childhood. We just more or less did what we wanted to do.
And your mother encouraged your creativity.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. Mother completely encouraged our creativity.
Now your mother had a rather traumatic experience in that her own mother destroyed all her paintings when she married. And she was expecting those paintings to be sent on.
Yes.
Can you tell that story?
Yeah, in fact, well, mother hated her mother. Her mother would just send her off the deep end. Every time she saw her, she would start screaming and yelling, which could seem rather mystifying, since Edna, our grandmother, would generally just sit there smiling and seeming very calm, but she always do exactly the right thing to say to drive mother berserk, you know. And at some point, mother told us that one of the reasons that she could not stand her mother was because when she returned to Savannah after our father died, she went to get her paintings, which she had left at, I guess, where she lived with her mother, and she couldn't find them anywhere. And her mother said, "Oh, Louise, you know, you were married. You didn't need those old things anymore, so I threw them away," which was absolutely appalling. And I didn't even realize how appalling it was until I was about 14. And on one of our attempts to move out of Savannah, we had shipped to Baltimore, where Edna was living at the time, this big box full of all our dolls, many of which mother had made, many of which I had made, tons of puppets which I had made, and they were beautiful. These were all works of art. So we got to Baltimore, into the high-rise apartment where Edna now lived with her sister Maud, and I was looking for this box. It was a big box, you know, it was about this big. And I couldn't find it anywhere. And I said, "Well, you know, Edna, where is the box with all the dolls in it?" And she said, "You all are too old to play with dolls. I threw them all down the incinerator." And then I realized, it really came home how mother felt with her at the age of 13 or 14, however old I was, you know, what this lady had done to our mother, you know. Because that was on a pair with this, it was like the same thing.
It was the essence of it.
Right, exactly. Plus, you know, that also meant she dragged this huge box down the hallway to this small incinerator. It was a little door, you know, and she must have one by one. It's not as though she just dumped out the whole box. She must have slowly and methodically, one by one, consigned each doll to its fiery fate, you know. Gleefully, practically. I mean, you know, although she never laughed.
She didn't
She always
show it.
smiled.
Grandmother
Like
was an
that.
art killer.
Yes, exactly. Edna, we called her Edna.
Edna was an art killer.
Yes.